Have you heard of someone doing a big bore kit for the 600? No. It's a 600cc bike. You really can't bore enough out of it to get a serious difference. The obvious reason someone would consider this kind of thing is basically just to get more performance. But with the VT600, you have the problem of the only being able to go so big with the cylinder before you start making those walls super, super thin. They get, there's a water jacket there and the cylinder's not that thick. I mean, in addition, you need to beef up your clutch. So you still can't do jack shit about the gearing. The gearing is going to be what it is. So honestly, if you bored out a 600, all you'd end up doing is winding out the gears much faster than you normally would and not getting the end result you're really looking for. So the cost versus return on investment says that you're much better off stepping up to a bigger displacement bike. And as they say, there is no replacement for displacement. There's very few vehicles that would ever be considered an investment. Vehicles are typically a liability unless you have something like, we'll just say a crane. So if you have a crane, you can get a crane operator and you can go pick things up, and that is the tool you use to accomplish a job. So if you are a crane operator and you're picking things up with the crane is the investment because you're putting money into the crane to earn money. But most vehicles, most passenger vehicles are not investments. They are a liability. They decrease with value. The second you buy a new car, its value starts plummeting. If you overuse a vehicle, it becomes crappy. If you underuse a vehicle, it becomes crappy. Both things make it become crappy faster. So letting a vehicle sit obviously is going to hasten the demise of that vehicle much faster than, say, daily driving it and upkeeping your maintenance. So even collectible vintage cars, I mean concourse level restoration, it's not an investment. You're probably never going to get the money out of it that you put into it. It goes for classic cars, even bikes. You can pay, $8, $10, $20, $150,000 for a custom motorcycle, but then you turn around and sell it, and you might get a fraction of what you put into it. So I always tell people, when I have people come and ask me to build them a custom bike, I let them know, hey, you're going to put more money into this than you're probably going to get out of it. So if you want to sell it, you're not going to get back what your investment was. So the money you put in is not going to come back to you it's not like stocks and bonds where you put money in and you work with the system and eventually you have a return, or investing in a small business where your ROI is a guaranteed 20% of their revenue after X amount of years. Something like that, that's a guaranteed investment, but you can't invest in a liability. You can't invest in something that breaks down. So if you try to bore your 600, the most you can really possibly get, I've written it down so I wouldn't forget while I'm talking to you guys. Okay, so your bore and stroke is 3.0 by 2.6, or 75 millimeters by 66 millimeters. If you decided to bore up to 0.010, you would gain 4 cc's. That's it. 4. That's nothing. That's really nothing. There's a reason bikes go from 600 to 750 to 1,000 to 1,100 to 1,300 to 1,800. They're pretty big jumps. They're usually within hundreds, and it's a noticeable jump. Where if you jump 4 cc's, that's nothing. You're not even going to notice that. Whoop-de-freaking-do. Nothing's going to happen. So you're going to put all this time and money and work into trying to bore out a motor that's only 600 cc's and really wasn't ever designed with the thought of massive boring to happen. Massively boring. That's what I'm sure I sound massively boring right now. honestly, if you're trying to get a faster bike, get a bigger displacement. There's really no other answer for that. So that is the question. That answers the question of, have you heard of someone doing, or do you know where I could find a big bore kit for a VT600? That was my answer. They don't exist. Actually, Honda makes 2 sizes up from stock bore. They make 2 different pistons, and 2 different types of rings. So if you need to hone the cylinder out or bore it out a little bit bigger due to corrosion or whatever have you, something happened with the motor, you can go up to, I believe, it's like a 25 and a 50 increment above what the stock piston and rings are. But you're not gonna, it's not like, oh my gosh, so much more power, holy shit, like it's not gonna happen.